All right, let's get into your cosmic weather report for Thursday, January 29, 2026. And astrologically speaking, this day really has a split personality.
The big theme for Thursday is this really dramatic shift in energy. What starts out as light, social, and super communicative takes a pretty sharp turn once evening rolls around, becoming much more serious and structured. Think of it like a story in 2 acts.
So let's talk about Act 1, the morning and the afternoon. This part of the day is just buzzing with this positive, airy energy, and if you know what's up, you can really make the most of it.
Okay, so here's the cosmic setup. The moon, which pretty much guides our collective mood, is in the super chatty sign of Gemini. And at the same time, it's making this perfect, harmonious connection to a whole party of planets, what we astrologers call a stellium, over in social Aquarius. That combo, it is a powerful recipe for connection.
Basically, this whole alignment creates an atmosphere that is absolutely perfect for mental activity, communication, and just getting social. Seriously, this is a fantastic day to schedule that important conversation, brainstorm some new ideas, or just catch up with friends. The energy is really flowing, so you're going to want to use it.
That bright, breezy energy is awesome. But, and you knew there was a but coming, it doesn't last. As the sun sets on January 29th, the cosmic weather report changes, and it changes dramatically. So the big question is, what happens when night falls?
And welcome to Act 2. The evening brings a major reality check. The mood shifts from that easygoing vibe to something much more focused on pressure and, you guessed it, responsibility.
So here's what's driving this change. That same social Gemini moon from earlier in the day runs headfirst into a tense angle, it's called a square, with Saturn. And you can think of Saturn as the cosmic taskmaster, the planet of rules and hard work. When it creates this kind of friction with our emotional moon, our feelings get a serious dose of reality.
The contrast is, well, it's pretty stark. We go from that social, light, communicative daytime vibe to a nighttime feeling that is way more restricted, serious, and pressured. It's kind of like being pulled from a really fun party straight into a late-night study session you totally did not plan for. So what might this actually feel like for you? Well, you could suddenly feel restricted, like your plans are just getting blocked left and right. You might feel misunderstood in conversations that were flowing so easily just hours before. Or, after all that mental energy during the day, you could just feel completely and utterly drained. It's a clear signal to slow down.
Now, as if this day-to-night shift wasn't enough, there's actually another layer of complexity running underneath it all. It's like an emotional wildcard that's in play for the entire day. So this wildcard is something called an out-of-bounds moon. Now that sounds technical, but all it really means is that the moon is traveling a bit outside its usual path in the sky. And the effect? Well, our emotions can become unpredictable. Reactions might be way stronger than you'd expect, and feelings can just feel a little extra. So even during the positive part of the day, you might notice this undercurrent of intensity.
So, with all that going on, how do we best navigate the final hours of the day? Let's break it down. We've got a roadmap for the late night.
Okay, first we have to understand one more concept. The void, of course, moon. This happens right after the moon makes its last big connection, which is that tough square to Saturn, and before it moves into the next sign. Think of it as a cosmic pause, a celestial intermission. It's a great time for wrapping things up, but it's really not the time for starting new projects or making big decisions.
So here's how the timeline plays out. Late in the evening, that pressure from the Saturn square really starts to kick in. Then, at 10:56 p.m., the moon goes void. That is your official cue to start winding down. This void period lasts for a few hours until 1:31 a.m. when the moon finally shifts into the deeply emotional sign of Cancer. And here's a really crucial piece of advice. If you try to push through this void period, especially after the stress of that Saturn square, you might find yourself feeling extra sensitive and restless. With the watery-eyed Cancer moon just around the corner, sleeplessness is a real possibility. Honestly, your best bet is to try and get to sleep before that final emotional shift happens. So the day ends with this huge emotional shift as the moon moves from that airy Gemini vibe into watery Cancer. What does that mean for us? Well, as the source puts it, but the Cancer moon, we'll talk about that at length tomorrow. And we will. So be sure to join us then to find out.